In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an automatic estimate or quote builder along with a same day, a short term, and a long term nurture sequence. This automation video is going to have the potential to help you or your client make not hundreds more, not thousands more, not tens of thousands more, but 6 to 7 figures more in the business, because we are going to be focused on generating both leads and actual conversions, actual closes. I'm going to be breaking down all 15 steps. Some steps are very short, some steps are a little bit longer, but I'm going to show you how to do absolutely everything for 100% free. Now, because I'm showing you absolutely everything, that means this video is going to be a little bit longer. So what I would recommend that you do is very quickly subscribe to the channel, like the video, and save this video to watch later. That way you can come back to it. I'm also going to have chapters at the bottom, so if you are coming back to the video, or if you ever do come back to the video, you can simply jump ahead to the part that you are stuck on. Now, if you are in SASO University and you would like help with building these automations, I will help you, again, 100% free on the group coaching calls during the Q&A sessions. Now, let me go ahead and stop talking. Make sure you remove all distractions and you like this video so you can find it later. And let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, as I mentioned, there are going to be about 15 steps. Step 1, we need to actually map out the formula of how we are going to calculate the estimate or the quote, right? And so let me go ahead and share my screen. You're going to see here, this is an example, right? So in this example, I'm going to be building out a auto quote generator for flooring. And so you're going to see we have here the flooring type is hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, carpet, and sheet vinyl. And then we have the job sizes. So you can see the pricing range, and that's based on the product cost and the install cost. So the product cost is going to be about $6 to $10 per square foot for hardwood. This is the low to high. So if you are putting this information together yourself, or if you are gathering this information from a client, just say what's the cheapest it could be and what's the highest it could be. Remember, this is a quote generator. This is an estimator. It is not going to be exact. We're actually going to provide a median rate for you, but the client or the customer is actually going to get a low to high range, and that's going to push to a sales call where we can then get an in-person meeting where you're going to have a much higher success rate of closing. So I'm going to cover all that towards the end of the video when we get to that automation. But the main thing I'm trying to get you to take away is what's the low and what's the high. If someone's like, well, it could be this, it could be that. What's the lowest? What's the highest? We're going to use the median rate to calculate, and then we're going to create a range around that. So don't worry about exacts. What's the low? What's the high? So product cost, install cost, and then what kind of waste factors are we looking at, right? So they're saying if the floor is more complex, that might be more expensive. And then they put a little bit of timeline here, which we'll talk about towards the end of the video as well, if you want to do a time estimate. But he says basically always account for a 5 to 10% waste factor. Now I'm doing a range, so I'm just going to take the median 7.5%, right? And then extras, if there's subfloor prep, 2 to 3 per square foot. Baseboards are $3.75 to $4 per linear square foot. Wood baseboards, he said ignore this. Stair nosings, and then removal would be $2.50 per square foot for hardwood, right? And then he does this, we just repeat this over and over. And what's interesting is when this client first came to me, they told me it's really difficult to estimate this kind of stuff. And I said, that's perfectly fine. What's the first thing you ask client in your sales process? Like when you were talking to a client and they're saying, hey, I want to do this, what's the first thing you ask them? And he said, well, the first thing we do is we ask, what's the floor type? And then we ask, what's the square footage? And then we ask, and then once we have that, here's how we calculate it. First, I know it's gonna be this much and this much. So I just asked him, walk me through generating a quote. And I just asked questions and I put this together, right? Now, in this case, he put it together, but that is how you would create this. Then we come down and there's some different things, right? And then he put some time installs. But for the pricing, this is what we're going to be going off of. So that is step 1. Just put this together. And what I would recommend is doing this in person or over a call, like a video call, and just mapping it out together. Do it however you want to do it, right? Step 2. Now we're going to go into building the pipeline. So I'm going to hop into high level. I'm going to go into opportunities and a pipeline. And then you can see it's already here. So I'm just going to click pencil. If you want, you would just create a new pipeline. You just put all your stages. But let me just show you what I put together. So let's do this pencil. So I do lead captured, quote sent, follow-up initiated, appointment scheduled. This would be, we can do like on site appointment scheduled because that's what you want to do. And this is going to be regardless of whether you're going to them or they're coming to you. So you can make it on site or you could have it say in person. Service delivered, and then closed, payment complete. Once the payment is complete, we're doing the social proof campaign, and this might be lost, abandoned, or what I would really prefer doing is some kind of a long-term nurture. And then you can remove them if you really want to, but I have other automations for that. So I do a long-term nurture here, and then I'm going to save this. And that's step 2. Now, step 3, we want to go and we want to create our custom values based on the variables that we're going to get from the company. So you see right here, these are all the variables we're going to get from the company. So it would be something like, what's the product cost per square foot? What's the install cost? And then what are the, extras, right? So let's go back into high level, and you can see why it's so important to have the quote put together first, right? So let's go into settings, and we're going to go down here to custom values. And I'm going to go, you can do add folder, and you can see I already have one here. So let me just show you one before I recreate it. So I do hardwood cost, right? I have my install cost per square foot at $375. How did I get that? Well, they put 3 to 450, and I just put something in the middle, right? And then I have how much they can install, how many square feet they can install per day per team. It's about 250. The product cost, $8. How'd I get $8? 6 to 10. I just went right in the middle. So I'm doing exactly what I'm telling you to do, right? Removal fee, $250. Install rate, or how many stairs could they install? It'd be 4 a day. And then this would be the cost, right? So this would be $1,100. And then the hardwood subfloor prep or removal would be $250, right? And then what you're doing is you're just doing a new custom value, right? So what I can do here is let's go back and let's create another folder so we can do this together. And I'm going to do it for laminate. So folder name is going to be laminate. And by doing this, it's going to be really nice and easy to build out the automations and the workflows and the math and all of that. So this is why I say follow the path I'm doing. So I'm building it out. I'm going to add my custom values. And if you want, you can skip past this, but I'm just going to show you how to build this, right? So laminate, I'm going to do laminate install cost per square foot. And then the value is going to be in the middle. So if the square foot product cost is going to be 3 to 550, I'm going to find in the middle. So in the middle would be, let's see if my army math helps me out, between 3 and 6 would be 450. Let's say 4. So let's just leave it at 4, right? That'd be $1 more. So 425. So let's do 425, right? You can see that army math really coming in strong, right? So 425. And when you name your custom values, just name it in a way that's really easy to follow, right? So let's remove this and let's add a new custom value. And let's say laminate labor cost per square foot. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to see, okay, the install cost per square foot is going to be $235. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to put $235. And the reason that I'm building this out in the custom values and not just straight into the automation is because instead of having to update every workflow when you get a new client or when you duplicate this process, you can just come here, update these values, and it will update all the formulas for you. So we're almost finished here. Then let's see, there's the waste level, same 5 to 10%. So what I could do is if you wanted to, you could do something like laminate waste level in percent, and I could put, I'm not going to put 5 or 10 because it's a percentage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1.075. Whoops, 1.075. So that would assume a 7.5% waste because I'm going to multiply what I get by this number of 0.75, 1.075. If you want to do a waste factor of 5%, you would do 1.05, 10%, 1.1, so on and so forth, right? Let's come back here. And then we've got subfloor prep between 2 and 3, that's 250. Baseboards between 375 and 4, that'll be like 385-ish, right? And then removal is 130. So let's come back here. Let's do laminate removal cost per square foot, enter value. And what was that number? Was it 1.3? Yep. And we'll do 1.3. Create, and let's come back here. Baseboards, about the same. We'll do 375 just to keep it on the low end. Laminate baseboard cost per, I think this is per linear foot actually, if I remember that right, because it's not a square foot. Let me see. Yeah, per linear foot, yep. And that's gonna be, I didn't even get the number, what am I doing? 375. You see, I'm just naming them in a way where it's really easy. It's really obvious what I'm doing, because if I make it too complicated, I'm going to like lose sight of it, right? Subfloor prep. and this will be 250. Oh, whoops. See, almost caught. I gotta catch myself there. Laminate. Subfloor prep. Great. So now I have my custom values for laminate. Now what I want to do is I want to start building out my custom fields. So I'm going to come back into settings, and I'm going to go into custom fields, and I'm going to do the same thing. So folder, you can see there's a quote folder. So I already have this, but here's what you're going to put in for your quote, okay? These questions are already populated because I have them from the question, from the form, but you want to put in, I'm going to walk you through it. So you're going to do monetary, and we're going to do number, and you're going to put base labor cost, because we're going to calculate the base labor cost. Then you're going to do another one, monetary, and you're going to do base material cost. If you have that. If you don't have materials, then you can get rid of it. If you are running something like a cleaning company, or maybe like lawn care where you have some expenses that go with it, you could change it to like your expenses per square footage. So like maybe I'm using 1/100th of a bottle or 1/1000th of a cleaning bottle per square foot, and you can just calculate it that way. So those fees can still be kind of factored in there. Or you can do a base rate like $10, right? Something like that. Don't worry about that if you don't have it just yet. I would just add that into the equation later. But for now, I'm going to do a base material cost, which I already have. Then I'm going to do, this is really important, you want to do a median quote value, because what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the median rate using the numbers I've put together, but then we're also going to put together, and let me see if I have this, we're also going to put a low to high. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a field, monetary, and I can do this one with you guys. I'm going to put low end of quote in the quote folder under the contact, and I'm going to save low end of quote, and then I'm going to do another one, monetary, high end of quote under quote, save. There you go. So now we have the low end and the high end of quote, because that's really good. You're gonna need that for the range. So that's all of the custom fields you need now, and then you're gonna see the questions come into play when we actually build the form. So let's go ahead and build the form. So I'm gonna go to sites, form, builder, and then I have it here, so I'll show you what I built. So this is gonna be where you need to collect the variables from the customer or from the client. So first we put together the values, and that's gonna be the values that you need from your client, and then we're gonna put together the form and the custom fields, and that's gonna be the values that we need from the customer. So I always start with first name, last name, phone, email, address, city, and state, because I want that information to be able to know like where I'm gonna be on site. If they're coming to you, so maybe you're like an auto detailer, you might not need those things, but it might not be bad to have those in some way, shape, or form if you send things to collections. But if you are doing something where they come to you, you really don't need those. And then you always want the consent. Now what I've added in here is these custom fields. So for this one, I'm saying, where do you need work done, right? And then I'm having, do you want to redo your baseboards? And then what is your estimated square footage? And then what is the material type? And then is there any removal needed? And then what's the floor material that needs to be removed? And then how many flights? And then what's your preferred start date? So all of those are going to be in the custom fields. So I'm going to go to custom field, and I'm going to add my question. And you're just going to come here under contact, and you'll do like add. And you can now add your questions. You could add the other fields the way I was telling you here as well if you wanted to. I just don't want them on the form necessarily. So you can add everything here, but I'm going to add my questions here, like what information I need in question format. And then you'll find them under here because I'm going to add them to the quote folder. So if you add single line, next, you can see the folder, you just add quote. So what's really nice is if you go to the contact, you can scroll to quote and you can see all the information it gave you, but we'll cover that in the automations, right? So now let's say you put together a piece of the form that will show more questions or will have more questions or maybe might not. So for example, do you need work done on your stairs, floors, or both? If I say floors only, then there's no point for me to ask how many flights of stairs. So this is where we can add something called conditional logic. You can see right here, show hide fields, or show hide fields. Yeah, I think I said that. So now in show field, I can say if any removal needed is equal to yes, I can show floor material that needs to be removed. That's one example. And then here's a stair one. If do you need work done on your stairs is equal to stairs only or both, then we'll show how many flights of stairs. So let me show you what that looks like in action. So if I say floors only, nothing pops up. But if I say stairs only, this question just popped up. Look again, gone, appeared, gone, appeared. So it just keeps the form a little bit cleaner and easier and less friction for the person to fill out. Any removal needed? Yes, then it pops up. No, then it goes away, right? So you can see it just pops up like that. That's just what conditional formatting does. If the answer to a question leads to more questions, use conditional formatting. If you need it regardless, leave it. That's just the simple logic I use. And then I like to do an estimated start date of project just to see when they're interested. So they might want to put that in there anyway. It doesn't mean that we're going to honor it. So if they say, hey, I want to start like, tomorrow, it doesn't mean that we can honor it. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but I still like to throw that in there. And then of course your consent, your button for submit or get my quote, you can click here. Change this to, get my free estimate, right? And then change your button style, all that stuff right here. I'm not going to cover the making it look pretty just because that's going to be a waste of our time. So now what we've done so far is we have the formula on paper or in Excel. We've created the pipeline. We've done the custom values. We've done the custom fields, and we've come in here and added all the questions, and we've done some conditional logic. So now your form is done, right? And what I'm going to do, by the way, is I will link some of the help resources if you need more help. But all you have to do is open up a new tab and go to help.GoHighLevel.com. And if you need help with it, there's so many things here. Or you can hop on YouTube and look up more help. But I'm showing you basically the most of it. Again, if you're in SASO University, which is my DIY group coaching environment, we have 2 coaching calls a week, and one of them is usually a Q&A session. Come to Q&A, have your screen ready to share. I go on Zoom and you can give me remote access and I will literally build this out with you or for you. But let's go ahead and keep moving. The next thing we want to do is, now that we have everything, let's actually build the automations. So the reason that we've done everything the way we've done it up until now is so that when we go to build the automations, we don't have to jump out and come back and change this and change that, right? So let me come in here and you can see I have several automations put together. What I really want to focus on is this main one, because you might have, so I have calculate removal fees, I have additional fees for stairs, I have additional fees for baseboards, I have all that stuff. But if we come into the main one, you're going to create a workflow from scratch. You're going to do a trigger form submitted. It's going to be your flooring quote request that we just put together. And then the condition, you're going to do an if else. So plus if else right here. And the condition is basically going to say, what is the material type? So you would do, I do one for hardwood. We don't need the and there, but that's okay. Flooring material is hardwood. So if they put hardwood in the form, it's going to redirect to this workflow. And same for laminate, vinyl, tile, carpet, sheet vinyl, all that stuff, right? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this one, and then we're going to build one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 1 minute wait, because if I'm doing the 1 minute wait, I can calculate the rest of these because those might be factored into this automation. So I always do a 1 minute wait. That way, if you add other fields to be updated, it'll update here. I'm then going to do a math equation. So click here and you'll do math operation. There it is. And the math operation is going to be select field, square footage. So square footage is going to be under custom fields, because if you followed what I told you to do, you're going to have it there, square footage. And then you're going to have operations multiply. And then let's come in here. So multiply, you're not going to put in, this is the beauty of doing it my way, okay? Got my recording stuff here, so that's why it's blocking me. You're not going to put the number in here because then you're going to have to update it every time with every client. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the custom values that we made, and I'm going to go to hardwood costs, and I'm trying to determine base material cost. So it's going to be square footage times hardwood install cost per square foot. Save. Or not save yet, actually, because I need to update the field. And so this is why we did the field first. So now I have the base material cost estimate. It's going to update that cost. So that's why we did everything in the order. Next, if you want to do a labor rate, square footage times your labor rate value. Update field, base labor rate cost. Now I want to determine the total base quote, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to select field base labor cost, because I've calculated that here. I'm going to add base material cost, which I did here. And then you can add anything else. So this would be where I'd add like a removal fee, a staircase estimate, a baseboard estimate, and then you can multiply times your waste factor. So I can do here, I just put 1.5 here, but I could do custom value. I'm not doing laminate right now. I'll do that in a second. I could do that times the waste value, right? The waste level. So that's why I've built it that way, because you can see how fast I'm just clicking buttons. Otherwise, you have to leave this, come back, leave this, come back. Same for what's next. We're going to do creator update opportunity, quote request pipeline. In pipeline stage quote sent, the opportunity name would be the contact name. And then the lead value could just be the base cost estimate, because you calculate that. So now you can see the person and the base cost that you have. Status can be open. And then there you go. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an internal notification, and the internal notification is going to say, hey, new quote for this much money, right? And you can change it to whatever you want to do. Just click your custom values. You can do their name. You can do whatever. I just like seeing the money, and I like the client seeing the money because it's like, wow, this guy's generating me, this guy being the agency, this agency is generating me leads at this value, right? And I just do something very simple. Contact name, quote, which is the rate, preferred start date, which they're not really going to pay attention to. It might be something unrealistic. And then estimated time to complete. I'll show you how to calculate that as well. Then what you're going to put in here, you don't see it here because I don't have it set up in the sub account. You're going to put an email, and in the email, this is going to be where you would calculate. You can send the median rate. You say, hey, here's your quote. And what I would put in this email is I would say something like, you know, hey, contact first name as requested. Here is your quote based on what you told us. And you could even like share their values back. So you could even come in here, contact, scroll down, custom field. You could say, hey, you told us, you know, this square footage, you told us stairs, you told us removals needed to be done, right? So you could do that. And then you would put your rate. Now here, what I have under contact name is I'm going to have your base total cost estimate, right? So I have my base total cost estimate, and that would just be like the flat rate. And I'll show you how to do a range in just a second. And then I would do like an SMS, and then you can have like a same day nurture sequence. So the same day nurture sequence that I would recommend would be the email, wait 1 hour, SMS, wait 2 hours, voicemail drop. And for the voicemail drop, you can give a script to your client, have them record it. You can record it for your client, or you can use something like 11 Labs or some kind of AI voice generator to do it for them, or you can just use a stock AI voice, right? And you can just basically say, hey, we sent you an email with a quote. Let us know what you think, or let us know what questions you have. That is it for your same day follow-up. So basically you're trying to push back to the email quote, like, hey, here's the quote. We sent you a quote via SMS, voicemail drop. Hey, check out your quote we just emailed you, or feel free to give me a call back. Then you're going to wait 1 day. So you just do a wait 1 day. And then what we're going to do here, I don't need that there, is we're going to create or update the opportunity. So now, remember in the stage, we had lead capture, quote sent. That was up here, right? Quote sent. Now we're going to update this after we've sent all the information over, and we're going to update the fact that they did not respond within 1 day. And we're going to say, cool, now we're going to move them to the follow-up initiated, and that's going to trigger the next automation that we'll cover, which is the short-term nurture sequence. So let me come back up here. If I want to create this for laminate, let's go ahead and build this out really, really quickly now that I have everything. We're going to do a wait. 1 minute. Save. Let's calculate base material cost. And I know I can copy them over. If you're wondering like why I'm not doing that, it's because I'm trying to show you how to do it. Custom fields. Square footage. Multiply. Look how fast I'm able to move, because I did everything the way I tell you to do it in this video. I want you to imagine how long I took doing this, right? Laminate install cost. Yeah, install cost, because I'm trying to calculate the base material cost. Select field to update. This will be the same, which is going to be base material cost estimate. Save action. Add. Let's do labor. Math operation. Select field. Custom fields. Scroll to square footage. Multiply. Times. Custom values. Laminate. Labor cost per square footage. Update. Base labor cost. Look how fast I'm moving. Look at this. Bam, bam, bam. And anybody who knows me can tell you I'm not the brightest guy. That's all right. Just kidding. Let's do math operation again. Select field. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go custom fields. Base labor cost. Add. Now you don't see custom fields, right? Contact. Now there's your custom fields. Base material cost. So labor plus material. Add operator. You want your multiplication to be at the very end. I'm going to add any additional fees. So this would be contact, custom fields. This would be removal fee, if any. Add. And again, this is not, this is specific to the client I'm building this out for, but this would be anything else you want to add to it, right? And I'm going to, let me cancel and see what I did the other one. So it was, and what I can do here, just because I'm feeling lazy, copy this one action. Actually, what I can do is I can just copy all these now. Put it here, and let's see what this is. I'm going to have to, let me see, none of those change. And now here, where it's the waste level, I could delete this, custom values, laminate waste level percent, save. And there you go. I just built that out. And of course, it's missing the email, SMS, and voicemail drop, but that's just what you would add it right there. So let's go ahead and save this. And right there, you have your automation. Now, if you want to add more complex ones, that's why I always do a wait 1 minute. And let's say you want to calculate something like how long something would take, and that's going to have to go into this equation. No. Or maybe you want to calculate additional fees. Oops, cancel, save. So that's going to be where you would have something like this, calculate removal fees. So again, this is really simple, and we'll build it out with you as well. Same form as submitted. Condition, flooring material is whatever, right, for removal. So this would be condition, hardwood material is, calculate removal fees. So you can see hardwood removal fee, multiply square footage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, math operation, square footage, multiply times removal fee. See what happens when you get prepped, and then I need to update removal fee, if any. So you see, this is why we built everything ahead of time. So now it's really easy. And then I want to name everything very clearly. So calculate laminate removal fees. Save. And so now, if we come back here and go back into here, you're going to see when we're calculating the total base quote, you're going to see, oh, there's the removal fee, if any, because we've updated it. Now, if you want to create a range, what I would recommend doing is you can come here and let's do a math formula, because now we have the total base quote. So let's do math, custom field, and we look at total, I think we have the base total estimate, there it is. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to multiply, and this could be, let's say I want it to be 20% high, 20% low. So 20% lower would be 0.8, right? And then that can update the low end of quote. Save action. And then I can name everything low end of quote. And then I can come here. I can copy this action, or yeah, copy, put it here. And then I'm going to do high end of quote, and I'm going to change this to like 1.2. So now it's 20% higher. And I'm going to update this to high end of quote. So then when you go to do your email, it's going to be the same as you would have here. Instead of doing this base cost estimate, what you could do is you could do here, custom value. I don't have to search for it. I could search for it, but I'm just going contact, custom field. And then I'm looking for low end of quote, dash, custom value, and I'm going to go to high end of quote. Now you could search it. I'm just scrolling so that way if you prefer doing that, you can find it. And there you go. Now I have a range. That's all I'm doing differently. So median rate and then multiplying times a low or a high. That's it. And I could copy this over. So I want to do this, copy action here, copy again, action here, bam. And then click here. And you can see these are custom fields, so there's no need in having, it being specific to the custom value. The one thing you could do is I could say low to high instead of me having to update all the 0.8s and all the 1.2s. All you would do is just come back here, settings, custom values, new custom value. This would be low range of estimate, and I like to put in percentages, and this could be like 0.8. Create, and then I'm going to do a high end, high range of estimate. I'm going to do 1.2, create. So that way I don't have to like update it everywhere. That way if someone says, oh, well, we want to go like 30% or 23.5%, you could just update here, right? And so we'll go back into automations, and then right here, low end, and I can now do this, and I can go to low end percent, save, same thing here, custom values, high range of estimate, save. And that will just calculate it for me. And so now, instead of me having to come in here and change this every time, I can just do that. So I'll just update this here again too. So this will be low range, save. See how I'm already doing twice the work where I could have just changed it in one spot? You live and you learn, you live and you learn, save. There you go. So just like that, I just built out a pretty quick quote generator and a same-day nurture sequence very, very quickly. Let's say that you want to calculate the estimated time to complete a project. So there's two automations we're going to do. We're going to calculate the numerical value, which will give us one number, but then we're going to use a text value to create a range. So first, let's go back to our calculator, or our numbers, the values that the business owner gave us. So they said the average installation speed is 300 to 500 a day per installer. So for 1,000 square foot, it would take 2 to 3 days for one guy, or 1 to 1.5 days with 2 installers. So I'm going to say the low to high. So the low would be 1, the high would be 3. 1 to 3, I'm going to put it right in the middle at 2 days, and then we're still going to add our percent range. So I'll show you how we do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here. We're going to go into settings, same thing we did when we built the automation to begin with. We're going to go to custom fields, folders, and we'll go into quote, and you'll see I've got some time. All right, whoops. Let's see, estimated project length, you're going to make a raw. This would be a numerical, and then you're going to do estimated days to complete project. This would be text. You want them to be in this format because we're going to calculate the number, and then we're going to use an if-else condition to generate a range. So you're going to do add field, number, next, and you would put estimated time, but you want to indicate something that's saying like this is the raw format or the number format. So this is where you would do, raw, or maybe put like the pound sign for number, put number, whatever you want to do here. And then you would put estimated days to complete project, or you could even name this like, if I want to rename it, I'd do something like estimated, range of days to complete project, something like that, just to indicate the difference, right? Then we're going to go into your custom values, and we're going to go to, in this case, hardwood. So we're going to do new custom value. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create the value for how much square footage they could do in a day. So we're going to do estimated, or we can do, let's say, hardwood speed, let's say install speed rate per day. So this is like how fast can they install per day. Come back over here. And let's see what we have. It was 300 to 500 a day per installer. I'm gonna say, let's do for 1,000. Let's assume we have 2, like a team every time. So we're gonna do a range. We can calculate somewhere in the middle. So if we know we can do about 300 at the low per day, and then the high would be 1,000 a day. The 1,000 minus 300 is 700. Divided by 2 is 350. 350 plus 300 is 650. So let's just do 650 on average. Create. And now what we're going to do is now we're going to go to our formula, and we're going to create a time estimate formula. Now remember, we're going to do 2, right? So we have estimated time, estimated project completion length. So this will be calculating the number itself. So let me show you. Actually, nope, that's the wrong one. See, and this is why you need to name it better than what I have. So let's rename this. Okay, great. So we're going to do estimated time to complete project, and I'm going to make sure that I indicate that this would be like raw numbers, or you'd put raw, you can put number, right? I'm just going to put raw because that's the raw data. And so then you're going to do trigger form submitted. Form is this. Then we're going to do the same condition for the material. So you could theoretically come back and just duplicate the first one, or whatever you're using for your calculations. Condition, if it's hardwood, here's the condition. Have one for stairs. Let's ignore stairs. So for no stairs, and you just do condition stairs or no stairs, but for no stairs, I would do estimated time. This is a math operation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the square footage, and I'm going to divide the square footage by hardwood costs, the hardwood install speed rate per day. And then this would be adding the estimated hours for the staircase if I had that, but I don't. And then that's going to update this field, estimated project length raw. So let's save that. Now I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to put the estimated project completion, and I should put like range. This is just because I should have named it a little bit more clearly. And so now what's going to happen is contact trigger, trigger tag, tag added, update estimated project time. So let me show you. come back here. I have a tag added. Right here, add tag to update project time estimation. This is going to add that tag. Now check this out. Estimated project time range. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this tag applied. Once this tag is applied, this tells me that the math formula has been completed because remember I did the math before this. Once the tag is applied, it goes in this condition, and the condition says branches. So if the number is less than or equal to 1.5 because it was a raw data, then it's going to come here and it's going to update the estimated range of days to complete the project. This is the text-based to 1 to 2 days. And we can even make this say, hey, we can do this in 1 to 3 days. Save. Then it's going to remove the tag just so I don't have all these like tags floating around. So it's going to remove, this will load, the very same tag that we added to initiate this. So it just adds it, does the math, and then removes it after it's updated the field. So it's really, really clean, keeping your tags clean. Now let's say, I need to change this. Now let's say it's between, let's say, we don't want to do 1 to 3. Let's say like 1.5 to 4. Now what we're going to do, save action, update estimate. So all you do is update contact field. So you come here, update contact field, update field data, add field, select field, and this would be the estimated range to complete project. And then here you would update it to whatever range you want. So that's what I have here. And I put, so if it's between 1.5 to 4, I might put, hey, this could take somewhere between 2 to, let's say, 5 days. So we're giving it like a little bit of slack, right? And you can just repeat this for every range that you might see. And then if there's anything where it's like, okay, this is done, and it's like way too many days, like let's say we have a condition where, so you could do, so what I'm saying is you could do this for the range, and then you can come here, and let's say you're at the end of your range, right? So you would duplicate branch, and you would say basically, anything more than 4, right? Obviously I do more range, but let's say it's anything more than 4. I would delete this here. Estimated project is good, greater than or equal to, and let's say it's like greater than or equal to 4, right? Save action. Same thing I'm going to do here, so I can just go ahead and copy all these actions, move it here. You could also duplicate the branch, but that's fine. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to update this estimate to something like, this could take, let's say 30 days or more, and just leave it at that, right? So this would be like your end range, and then you would update this, update estimate is greater than, 30 days, for example. So let's do 30 days, and then obviously I would need to change this to anything more than 30, greater to or equal than 30, right? And then I'd build my ranges in between there. So I'm just able to give ranges, and you can have it as granular or as wide as you want. But the benefit of doing this is now you're not going to send them a number like, hey, this is going to take 1.34 days, right? Now you can say, hey, if it's 1.34, then we can say, hey, it's going to take 1 to 2 days. So then you can come back here to this automation. And in the email that you have sending out, so again, I don't have it here because it's not connected, but let's say it's the same message here. I could come in here and I could say estimated time to complete. And then I could have this custom value, contact, custom field, and this would be the number we just did. So not the raw, because the raw would send them a crazy number, like this could take 1.78 days or 2.93, right? This would then have the estimated range of days to complete. So this would then say estimated time to complete 1 to 2 days, and that would go in your email as well. And there you go. We are now going to hop into the part of the video where we're going to cover the short-term nurture sequence, the long-term nurture sequence, objection handling, and then how to tag these leads for rev share or a case study. So let's go ahead and start with this short-term nurture. So what you're going to see is at the end of this automation, again, making sure you put in your outreach to the client. So this would be like your email, SMS, and voicemail drop, wait a day, and then you're going to update the opportunity. So this update is going to be in pipeline, quote, request pipeline, in pipeline stage, follow-up initiated. Now, what you're going to do in follow-up initiated is we're going to come over here And this is going to be our new automation. So the trigger is going to be pipeline stage change, and you're going to put in pipeline stage follow-up initiated. And you can do another 24-hour wait, or you can do whatever kind of wait you want to do. And what I would recommend is, I'm not going to do it here because, well, I'll show you how to do it, but I'm not going to tell you what specifically to do. But you would put on some kind of advanced window to make sure that you're reaching out to your clientele within specific hours. So for example, just factor in things like time zone difference. Do I have clients on in multiple time zones or all in the same time zone? So just make sure you consider that when you're doing your window, and then what days you want to reach out to them on for your nurture sequence, or at least what hours. And so you could do all days of the week. Just make sure that you're doing everything within the legal requirements of whatever country, state, local ordinances that you're in. So just do a little bit of research. But putting that aside, the automation, just a very standard approach, would be having some kind of a wait, or you can get rid of the wait if you have the wait over here as a 24 hours. So you could keep that here if you want the wait here versus there, or get rid of it. And then you're going to go into your outreach. So I'm going to do a 24-hour email or an email 24 hours after the quote is sent with an SMS, or I could do a wait here. But basically all we're doing is we're just going to follow up with them every day for 6 days. And you could also do every day for 3 days and then maybe space it out. The timing is completely up to you, and you can test it based on the industry and whatever it is you're trying to do. This is, again, just a very standard one. So I do a wait, email, an SMS, wait, SMS, wait, SMS, wait, email, SMS, wait, SMS, wait 72 hours, and then I'm going to update. And at the bottom here, I'm going to update in the pipeline, same one. I'm going to move them to the lost, abandoned, and then I could put status lost. And you could put a lost reason if you have one, like maybe just no reply because they didn't reply. And you're going to come to settings, and you're going to keep stop on response on. And so when you have stop on response on, what's going to happen is if they reply, it's going to stop the automation. So you don't want that reply or that contact to be lost when they actually end up replying, right? You don't want them to reply and then the automation stops and you're like, well, who's messaging them? So what I would recommend doing is either in this pipeline, or probably more accurately in this pipeline, what I would do is up here, I would immediately assign to a user. So this could be like your sales rep. And then on this one, what I'm going to do is once they enter the short-term follow-up sequence, now I'm going to add a follower. So this could be like the sales manager, the head of the department, the business, right? Whatever managerial position is overseeing the sales team, I would add them as a contact follower. So now I can have the user being assigned to this person to know, hey, they've replied and all those notifications. But once they go into the short-term nurture sequence, then whoever is in charge of all the sales can watch over the account, right? Or watch over the conversation. Again, you can change that wherever you want. You could assign the contact over here. You could do it over here. This is where you would want to speak with the business owner and see, you know, hey, what do you prefer? If you are the business owner in this situation or in your own situation, then hey, where do you want to try it? Try it. Do you like it? Keep it. Do you not like it? Change it. That's the beauty of business. You can do whatever you want to do. But this is the short-term follow-up nurture sequence. Update the opportunity, and then they would be moved to a long-term nurture. And what I've seen just before I go into the long-term nurture is you can tag them as lost, put them in lost abandoned. And then what you can do is you can do one of two things. You can have a long-term nurture sequence, or what I would personally recommend is I just personally recommending when you have promotions or deals, then just emailing those deals a different language or different copy to somebody who might be lost versus somebody who left a good review versus somebody who left a bad review. So I basically would do like a 3-step campaign, right? So a campaign specifically for the people who initiated a quote, but didn't really do anything from there, okay? Now you could, again, you could do wait 48 hours, wait 72 hours. You could do like wait 5 days, wait 30 days, right? It all depends on the space that you're in, right? So for example, if you're dealing with like, I don't know if a barber would ever do a quote, but let's say you're dealing with a barber, right? Or someone who's in like lawn care, or someone who's doing maybe accounting, some kind of a recurring need, then you could follow up, you know, every 30 days, every 45 days, and you can move into a long-term nurture that does that. If it's a one-time service, like, hey, we're renovating our home, or we're, you know, installing a pool, or, you know, I just need my floor remodeled, or I just need a one-time thing, then that's where I would follow something like this, where once it's done, just tag them and move them over to the side. So that's just the short-term and a long-term nurture sequence. What's really cool is that if you're in SASO University, what I have is I have a text snippets. So let's say somebody replies, and then the user assigned to that contact gets the reply, and they hit them with an objection. So what I then have in SASO University is I then have SMS templates. And so the SMS templates are things like, well, I had a bad experience. All they have to do is if you get this objection, all you have to do is go into your contacts, click snippet, and then you select bad experience objection, and it just sends off this message. And so the people in my community, all they have to do is come and update this, and they can update this to match whatever language that their business owner or their business themselves want to handle for this, right? So for example, can't afford financing issues. If your client doesn't offer financing support, then you probably want to change this message or get rid of it altogether, right? Something like that. So I just put these in here so that way, if you are helping people close, you can just literally click conversation, snippet, objection, use template, and it sends it off to them. So it's really, really easy for you to use, and it's really, really easy for your client to use if they're the ones actually using the system. So I have different objections, and then I actually showed the different SMS and emails, and you can always pause and copy these if you want. I update these all the time, so if you can copy it, it's going to be outdated by the time you copy it. That's perfectly fine. It's still going to work, and it's still going to help you out for those objection handling. Now for the rev share portion, let's say you want to calculate a rev share deal. So rev share, for those of you that don't know, this would be where you're doing a revenue share deal. So let's say you're like, hey, I can build a system out for you and it's $1,000 a month, it's $1,500 a month. And they're like, well, I can't afford that. And you can say something like, okay, well, I could do $250 a month, but I want to collect 10% of everything that I help you generate and close. And so they might say yes. And the big concern that I've seen here is some people will say, well, how do I know they're going to honor the agreement? Or they'll say, well, I had an argument past tense with the business owner and he or she swore up and down that I didn't help them generate the lead. So how do we get around this? Great question. What I'm going to do is the minute that they submit this form, right? What I'm going to do is somewhere at the bottom of this automation, because I want to collect all these numbers. So maybe right here with internal notification, I'm going to create another internal notification or email, like whatever I want to do. And I'm going to do an email and I'm going to put all the information here. I'm going to put subject and I'm going to put something like lead generated. And then I can put in here like the same information that I did here. So this would be like the name, the contract, low end of quote, high end of quote, and the preferred start date. So I can copy all this and I can put it in an email that I send to myself. And then in the opportunity tag, so that's number one. So I get the email for the lead generated with all the values. Number two, I can do in create or update opportunity. I could do opportunity source and I could put something like Alec's GHL build, right? Don't put that, but put something that indicates this came from my system. And let's say you're like, well, what if they remove that? What if they edit that? Well, that's why I do the email. So I have an email that comes straight to me. I update the source tag if you want to do that. If you want to, some people will use it for like, Facebook, PPC, right? If you don't want to do that way, all you would do, very simple, is add a contact tag. And then you could put like, your system name. And then the fourth and final piece, and yes, I would recommend doing multiple pieces. At the very least, do the email to yourself and do what I'm about to show you, which is add to notes. And then you can put something like, Alec generated a new lead, details below. So this way I can go into the notes and find that very quickly. And so by having multiple ways, and by the way, for the message, I'll just, again, just copy this and put it over. But by having multiple ways to tag the lead coming in that they came in through my system, then that there's not going to be any if, ands, or buts, right? And if they're like, well, I don't see the tag, and they deleted the tag, you have the contact notes. If they somehow delete the contact notes, you have the email that went to you, right? And you could also add the email for when they move to close. You have an email update that says, hey, move to close. You could even do a little bit more complicated. You could even do like a Google Sheet. And in the Google Sheet, what you could do, it's a premium trigger, but what you could do is you could update rows in your Google Sheets, where it's basically like, okay, when this happens, create this row, update the status here. When they close, update the status from lead to close, and then have the monetary value there. So you could do that as well. So that way it's all in your own Google Sheet that the client has a view-only copy of, and you have the main rights to it, right? So you're the only one with the edit access. So that's exactly what I would do. That's exactly everything that I would cover in this video. There's a lot here. So if you feel overwhelmed and you're like, well, I'm trying to build it out and I need help. If you are in SASO University, very, very simple. You come to the group calls and I will literally build this out on the group calls. Now, let's say there's too many people on the calls and you're like, oh, I really want some time up to yourself. I will have a way that if you want, you can book a call with me where I can help build this out for you. It's not gonna be a free call, but I will have that if people are interested. But again, this one video, I remember the first client that I worked with where I was helping generate leads. And if I had some kind of a rev share deal put in place, I would have made so much money starting out, because I think it was like within 2 months, we had generated him like, it was something like 30 or 40K. Within just 1 week, we generated him 28K. I'll never forget that. He messaged me. He's like, we just closed 8 deals and it's about 28K. He sent me a bunch of gifts and everything. Really, really great client. Loved working with him. But if I had a rev share deal put in place there, the money I would have made with that client. And these clients, they have no problem paying you money that you are helping them generate, right? So that is what I cover in this. And if you would like, I'll even cover in another video, I'll link it. I'll cover in another video how I would then present this in a way to close. But I have those videos in SASO University. So I have a way where I show you how to present this entire thing, how to close it on a call, and then from there, you would go and build it. So I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. If there's something that you would like to see me build, let me know. I'll try to build it. If I can't, I can't, but you know, I'll try to build it or I'll try to get to it. But I really hope you guys enjoy this kind of content. Take this automation, take it to the clients you already have, help them convert more, help them close more, increase your rates, or go into a rev share. Make a ton of money with this and then come back to me. Don't even pay me anything. You don't have to pay me anything. Come back to me and just say, hey, I made a bunch of money with this and here's the proof. Just so that I know that you guys are really enjoying this. And if you do want to join SASO University, or if you're even remotely interested, you're like, what is SASO University? I'll have a link below. Go and check it out. You can join for 100% free for about up to 30 days and see if you like it. But go ahead and check it out. Link will be below. But otherwise, have a good one. And I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.